that's when I started shifting from a solo entrepreneur into an actual full-fledged other consultancy. I did have a moment in my whole just journey here of thinking like, well, am I really considered an entrepreneur? Because I really feel like an employee. Now it's more, how can I expand the team relative to the lines of business that I have? Welcome back, Bold Move Besties, to another episode of She Built Success. I'm your host, Claudia. Let's get on into it. Have you ever thought about why, if you're an entrepreneur, you chose entrepreneurship? Today, I'm going to talk just about that, why I chose it. It didn't choose me. All right, so I chose, let me just start all the way back. So when I was a little kid, I used to get these magazines called Highlights. And in the very back of the magazine, they would have like almost like an ads page where you could cut it out and send off for, I don't remember what they were selling or what you could sell for them. Basically, it might have been the subscription. I don't remember, but I remember telling or asking my parents if I could send off for it because I wanted to sell those things. And they were like, yeah, no. And I don't know if they thought it was a scam. They didn't think I was for real. I don't know, but I know for sure that was one thing for me that stood out, that I knew I wanted to do my own business. I didn't know at the time, obviously, that it was called entrepreneurship, or it was just like I wanted my own business. And then if we fast forward a little bit, for me, I went the corporate route. So I, was a normal W-2. I did consulting as a W-2, and then I moved into consulting as a 1099. Now, for me, I never thought I wanted like a really large company. Some people, when they want to own their own business, they want to be like the next, I'm not going to say Google, but like just a really larger 100-person company or something like that. Like I never saw that for me. And it's not that I couldn't handle it. I just never, that was not anything that lit me up. It was more like, I'd say under 50 and I'm good. Maybe even 25. I think 25 is probably my max. And so it's like a smaller team, and I'm solid with that. So when I went into 1099ing, and that's like independent contractor world, even then when I first started, it wasn't so much I want a large company or I want a medium sized small business. That's kind of an oxymoron, but I wanted a smaller business. It was people business. It was, I wanted to be independent of any other company to do my own thing. And so in the GovCon space, we call it independent consulting. Even in corporate, they can call it that. And so I became a 1099, and I went in and did consulting in the data space, doing analytics, doing reporting, doing project management, all kinds of facets. And I was a person of one, and I was okay with that. Like there was some level of, for me, there was some level of, like I said, just independence in that, being an independent consultant. But at that point in time, I was not thinking I want this to be a larger company. And it wasn't that I wanted to do it all by myself. It was just, again, at that point in time, I was in my 20s, early 20s. Yeah, I was in my early 20s. I wanted to just do it for myself and not have to report to a corporate like structure and some of the things that come with being a W-2. And so there wasn't a concept for me of, I want a team and I want my team to be able to also do consulting in this space, or I want my content team to be over here. Like that part wasn't there yet. As I got experience, as I got exposure, then I was like, okay, I no longer want to be the independent consultant. I'd much rather bring on other team members, whether they're 1099s or W-2s, and have them fulfill work, contracting work. And so that's when I started, for me, shifting from a solo entrepreneur into an actual full-fledged other consultancy, right? And it wasn't, again, the drive never went away to have my own business, but the definition of what that looked like did change and did evolve as I got older. And so now it's a consultancy, and there are I do only 1099s right now that come and go as contracts are fulfilled. But I did have a foray with doing W-2, and that I'm not gonna say I wouldn't do it again. I didn't realize how much came along with W-2, like as a small business came along with W-2. So that's the benefits and the paperwork if your W-2s are in other states and registering with that state and making sure that you file the tax. No, don't get me wrong. I never, everything was on the up and up. There was not anything shady or weird going on when I did have W-2, but it wasn't, I didn't know it was going to be that much involved for a W-2 because I was like, I want my own employees. And God was like, all right, here you go. Go ahead. You can go have it. And I was like, I don't want my own employees because you got the 401, literally a 401k, and you got the health benefits, and then, laptops need to be issued and assets need to be tracked. Oh my gosh. Like, and so at that time, I was like, So right now, I only do 1099s. I'm not ready to go back into the W-2 space just yet. Maybe down the road, but for right now, I'm cool with the ins and outs of what it is for hiring on 1099s. Now, I will say, I know different entrepreneurs, even folks who've come on the podcast, have said they entrepreneurship was not something that they thought of. They were cool with climbing the corporate ladder, and I have my elements of that as well. But it was not I didn't think of entrepreneurship. It was I will learn from this corporate ladder, and I will figure out what are the elements that I don't like, what could be done better, what could be done different, and then incorporate that when I do, start my own company, which I did. And so it's my path is a little bit different in that I know that this was something that I've always wanted to do, but the levels with which I guess things have changed have been different and in some cases challenging, and so now it's like exciting to have my own company. I know at one time I felt like because of the type of work that I was doing, even though I was my own company, even though I was an independent consultant, I was like, well, am I really an independent consultant, or am I just like I was for real, but like it felt like still employee-ish. I still felt W-2-ish, which I guess sometimes could be good. But I felt that way because it was still like a 9 to 5, quite literally, because that was the type of contract work that I was doing. And so I did have a moment in my whole just journey here of thinking like, well, am I really considered an entrepreneur? Because I really feel like an employee, or I really feel like a W-2, even though I was independent. So I did have that moment, but now it's more, how can I expand the team relative to the lines of business that I have, and where can I cross over the team relative to the lines of business that I have to run efficiently, to run smoothly. I don't need 50 content video editors. I don't, that's just like not a thing. And so can I use the same person for content here for, like, for instance, the podcast, as well as for assets for client work? Yes, I can. And so it's for me, it's things like that where I can have a team that's dynamic. I do believe in pouring into people. And so I do ask my team to identify, are there areas that, you want to cross train in, so that not only does it build the skill set for them, but it also helps as a company to be able to leverage that duality sometimes in the skill set. And so again, entrepreneurship for me was something that I knew I wanted to do. It's something that I've continued to grow and develop as a company, even as a brand. And I think that sometimes when, like, there's been times where just even being an entrepreneur is like freaking exhausting, because you are sales, you are marketing, like if you're a person of one, and it can be draining at times, and there has to be a point where you cut it off. And so there's even been times for me where I've had to learn to say, hey, you need to go take some time off, and not like a couple days, like for real, put this to the side and take some time off. And so I've done that before. It's scary sometimes because you don't know always whether or not the revenue will be consistent, especially if you're a person of one. But for me, it's having the faith that, it's okay. It will be okay. Things will work out. And also managing your money properly. I'm not out here renting up, private jets and yachts and stuff and popping bottle. Like, I am responsible, but it really is, sometimes can be a challenge to recognize that when you are, especially in the beginning, when you are the one bringing in the revenue, and you are the one making the sales, and you are the one fulfilling the contracts or the deliverables that you signed up for, it can be a little bit daunting to say, hey, can I really do this? Or can somebody else do this and I do, focus on other aspects of the business. But it's something that, if you want to grow, that's a real thing. If you want to scale, that's a real thing. One-on-one can be fulfilling and rewarding. I can say I actually do like doing one-on-one work now and then, not all the time. But in order to scale, you have to either be able to multiply yourself via other people or do a group setting, right? And so at this point, I'm more on the group and multiply myself bus. I've sunsetted the one-on-one, almost daily type work, client work. There's positions that I'm seeking to backfill now. Backfill, I actually don't know if backfill is a normal term in general. For me, it's normal in the consultant space, but like who can backfill? That means who can step into roles that I once was in and it still be seamless to the client. So that's where I'm at now. And it's exciting because that means that I can focus on opportunities and partnerships with other small businesses, helping to train, helping to build out workflows, systems, automations, helping to assess it. I think a lot of times entrepreneurs, especially when we're just focused on, making sure the business has revenue coming in, we miss some of the holes in that, which is, you don't have the right CRM, or you don't have an email system set up, or you don't even know how to do it, or, you don't have, I don't want to say a funnel. I'm not going to say we all know about funnels. That's taking it for granted. But, with a funnel, that's how you attract and bring in leads, and then hopefully at some point convert some of those leads into customers or clients, paying customers or clients. And so like I get to help other small businesses, other mid-sized businesses be able to have that structure, that back-end structure in place. And that's exciting. The other thing I'm looking forward to in this whole entrepreneurship and this next wave of working with small businesses is just continuing to build out community and having conversations in the DM and understanding pain points so that as the offerings come about in the small business space here at Capital Consulting Group, I'm able to like lean in and listen and scale that side. So that's the part I'm excited for. I think when we go down the path of entrepreneurship with I'm not gonna say clear plan, because there's gonna be some fuzzy moments, y'all, for real. But with an idea of what we're looking for, it just makes it that much more fulfilling, at least for me, to be able to see the fruit of what was once just a dream or what was once just a vision. And so that's, as I unfold this, that's what I'm looking forward to. So for me, entrepreneurship is more than just the elements that go into being a business owner. It's also enjoying the journey and learning from the journey. Because sometimes I'd be like, I'm done. And it's not even like I'm done, I don't want to do it anymore. It's more, I'm done with this particular insert whatever that is. I'm not gonna call out what that is right now, but insert whatever that is. And I'm ready to move on to the next thing. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm excited for that. So I'm going to continue this entrepreneurial journey, and I'm going to continue to bring you along with me as this unfolds. So Bold Move Bestie, especially if you are a small business owner or thinking about getting into entrepreneurship, my homework to you is to write down where and what you want in your business. How do you want it to look? How do you want to feel? And I know sometimes, you hear that and it's like, oh, well, what do they really mean? I mean, do you want to wake up and go ahead and almost like you're punching a clock and work with the client from 9 to 5? Do you want to, have slower mornings and have time for your coffee or your tea or whatever you do in the morning, or working out or meditating, or, what does that look like for you? How can you build your business around the type of life and lifestyle that you want to lead? So, Boom Besties, until then, I'll catch you on the next episode of She Built Success. Bye.